Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Maniac Mansion, brought to us by Jaleco and Lucasfilm games. Now Maniac Mansion is one of the greatest point-and-click adventure games that ever came out, for the NES or any other system for that matter. Now in this game you play as 3 different characters. You must choose Dave, the main character of the game, whose girlfriend Sandy has been kidnapped and taken into the mansion, and then you can select from 2 other characters to go along with. There's 6 to choose from, and each of them have their own unique abilities, as well as their own unique items that they can interact with in the mansion to allow you to do certain things in the mansion that other characters can't, as well as get certain endings that other characters cannot get. There's a ton of different endings, as well as different cutscenes that can take place throughout the game by doing certain interactions with items, or by doing certain things with characters. Now in this run of the game, I'm going to be choosing my characters as Michael and Wendy, and I'm going to be working towards Michael's ending. Now, as far as the storyline goes, as I've already said, Sandy, Dave's girlfriend, has been kidnapped and taken into the mansion. The mansion is under the rule of an evil purple meteorite that fell from the sky and has now crash-landed on Earth. The residents of the mansion were the Ed family. You have Dr. Fred, you have Nurse Edna, and their son Weird Ed. There's also a weird mummified cousin who's hanging out in the shower, and 2 pet tentacles who guard over the house. One who works mainly with Dr. Fred in the laboratory, and another one who guards the upper portion of the house. That one in particular is very interesting because he's very depressed, and seemingly wants to get a music contract. Now after you've selected your characters and started up the game, each beginning of the game starts with a certain cutscene. The dialogue that goes on in this cutscene that we're seeing here is different depending upon the characters that you take along with you. This is one of the few times that the game actually gives us a clue about what we're supposed to do, saying that we should look for a key under the doormat. Now in this run, as soon as we get control of our characters, I'm going to go ahead and switch to Michael, and I'm going to be using only him and a little bit of Wendy throughout the run of the game. Now with Michael, we're going to start heading over to the left, and as you can see on the bottom screen you have all your selections, as well as you can quick draw your selections by pressing the select button. You want to look under the mat, see a key, go ahead and use the key on the door to enter. Now we're going to go ahead and enter the kitchen first, and you want to sneak along the kitchen, because as soon as Nurse Edna, who's at the refrigerator, sees you, she's going to chase you, and you want to run out of the kitchen as fast as possible. If you're quick enough, you can escape the kitchen without her being able to grab you. If she does get a hold of you, she sends you to the dungeon, in which case you'll have to find your way out, or get a key that we're going to be getting later on to escape. Once you've been chased out of the kitchen, Nurse Edna now has disappeared from the area. We can go ahead, you could open up the refrigerator, take some random items. This is one of those games where it's a pretty good idea to just go ahead and grab anything you see, because you're never sure when you're going to need it. Once we're done in the kitchen, we're going to go ahead and head through the dining room, and into the room at the far right. Now inside here, we need to make sure that we go ahead and grab the fruit drinks, as well as this bottle of developer, which is on the top. However, once you go to grab it, you drop it and it falls on the grating on the bottom. Now later on in the game, we're actually going to be able to go into like this basement type area of the mansion where the grate leads to, and we'll be able to get that developer ink, which we'll have to use towards our ending. Now once we've gotten those items, we're going to leave the kitchen, and now head to the living room, which is located all the way on the right. Once inside here, travel through the living room, which we'll have to come back to later to break that chandelier at the top of the ceiling there, which will give us a key that will allow us to escape from the prison if we get captured, as well as enter the prison later on, which is actually the location of the lab. Now throughout the game, you're going to have little random cutscenes that occur. Sometimes different characters, such as the Ed family, will move along the mansion, signifying with a cutscene that, hey, they're going somewhere else in the mansion, so watch out, stay out of those areas, unless you want to get captured. Now most of the time there's cutscenes that are going to occur at random, they're timed events. Will just be between different characters and dialogue will happen, but they really won't move around too much. Now in this room we went ahead and I moved a loose panel to grab a cassette tape, and now I'm going to start leaving. For example, you saw Weird Ed, he went ahead to go get a snack from the kitchen, so if we headed to the kitchen, he would have seen us and tried to capture us. Now he goes there, he sees that the cheese that we took earlier is no longer there, so he's, I guess, frustrated and just goes ahead and goes back to his room, which is going to allow us to continue on in our game. Now we're going to go ahead and head upstairs. Once up there, we're actually going to be going into the door on the left here. Go ahead and open that up. Now in here, you want to make sure that you go ahead and grab the bowl of wax fruit. And if you want to, you can grab the paint remover, which can open up another room in the mansion. However, we won't be going there in this run. Then you can just go ahead and open up the steel security door. For some reason, they don't lock that steel security door, for whatever reason. However, once we're in this room, head up the stairs, where we're going to meet up with the green tentacle, the one that's depressed and wants a music contract. You want to go ahead and give him the bowl of wax fruit first, followed by the fruit drink we picked up, and then he'll just kind of run off, say thanks, and now he's taken care of. He actually ends up back in his room, which we're going to be going to in just a second. You want to go ahead, open up this first door here, which leads to that bedroom of the green tentacle. And here's the location of the radio, which you can use to call the meteor police if you're going towards Bernard's ending. Once you go up this ladder, you want to go ahead and make sure you grab the record, as well as the key on the right wall. The tentacle will just run around saying he's depressed about talking about his band, but he won't do anything to harm you. Now we're going to go ahead and leave this room. And now we're going to go ahead and head all the way to the right and enter this far door. In here, you want to go ahead and use the Manaic machine, because we're going to be needing it in order to remove a grate later on in the game. Then open up the right door. This is the bathroom. Within that shower curtain is the mummified cousin, if you want to see him. However, we're just going to go ahead and grab the sponge, which we're going to be able to sop up that liquid that we dropped in that grate earlier on. Once we have the sponge, go ahead and leave, and I'm going to go ahead and put Michael in this room, because we're going to have to trick Weird Ed a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and switch my character now to Wendy for the first time, and move her along, and we're going to actually ring the doorbell. Weird Ed is expecting a package, and he's waiting for that doorbell to ring so that his package has arrived. Once he hears the doorbell, he'll leave his room, allowing us to go ahead into his room and take some items. He exclaims, "Oh, the doorbell," and now he's going to think it's his package and leave his room. You have to be quick about this, and that's why I put Michael actually in the room right near it, just so that I could easily leave the room that I'm in with Michael and go ahead in to Weird Ed's room. Now that we've gained control of Michael again, we're going to go ahead and skip the door right to the right of us. That leads to Nurse Edna's bedroom, which case she'll just chase us and capture us. We're going to go into the door next to it, which is Weird Ed's bedroom. Go ahead, grab his hamster, but once his hamster's been grabbed, the card key that was, I guess, underneath the hamster is shown, and we go ahead and grab that as well. And now we're going to go ahead and leave that area. Weird Ed goes outside and sees that his package is not there, and he sees that someone has actually played a trick on him. Once he runs back into the house, he's actually immediately already back in his room. He's not going to go walking through the mansion, so we're safe to go ahead and start walking back down. Okay, so now we're going to be heading all the way back down to where we first went into the steel security door, and we're actually be going to the room to the right. Weird Ed went ahead and closed this door for whatever reason when he was coming back through. Go ahead and open the door to the right. Now in here, we're going to be using that cassette tape that we picked up from the loose panel earlier on, as well as the record we got from the Green Tentacles room. You want to go ahead and use the cassette tape in the cassette player, and then you want to go ahead and use the record on the record player, and then turn on the recorder, and then turn on the record player for some of the worst ear-piercing sounds you'll ever hear in your life. Once the little glass breaks on the piano, you can go ahead and turn off the cassette recorder, and then we're going to go ahead and remove our cassette tape, now with the sounds of that lovely, lovely sound that we just heard, which is actually the record of tentacle mating calls. If you've ever wondered how two tentacles mate, well apparently one of the two, not sure if it's the male or female, lets out that ear-piercing screech to let it know it's time to mate. Who knew Maniac Mansion could be so educational? Now right here we're seeing another one of the timed cutscenes between Dr. Fred and Sandy. Basically Dr. Fred saying, "You're captured and I'm gonna suck your brains out," and Sandy responding, "Oh no, you'll never get away with this," and that Dave will save me. And Dr. Fred basically saying, "Well, that's what she